Hi and welcome back to MRTV. It is the new year. It is 2020. So happy new year to all of you. I wish you all the best for the new year. January 2020, it's time for CES. And tomorrow I'm going to fly to Las Vegas and I will be on the show floor to bring you the latest and greatest of VR and AR. And today, I had the chance to sit down with Kevin Henderson, who's the COO of Pimax, and we were able to talk about lots of things before CES. So we've been talking about the new Artisan, and I will let you know everything that I learned from this interview in a moment. We also talked about the delays of the Pimax 8KX and the Modular Audio Strap and all these things. And we also talked about, some of the more critical things like customer support is not really amazing with Pimax. And we talked about what could be done better. So this is a very, very interesting interview in its full length. It's over an hour and you'll be able to watch the full interview in this video. And all of this goodness is coming up. Welcome back to MRTV. If you're new to this channel, this is all about VR and AR. So if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, why don't you do so now? But now let's directly get into the Pimax topic. And let me directly tell you what I learned about the Pimax Artisan. The Pimax Artisan indeed is a new entry-level Pimax. And the interesting part is it comes in two different versions. One version is without anything, no controllers, no audio solution, no tracking solution, and this is more meant as something of a replacement for your Vive or your Vive Pro if you already have base stations and controllers. This is this. The other SKU is the Artisan with actually a tracking method that we know already. And this tracking method is the Nolo tracking. And it will also come with some kind of headphones, which are very similar to those headphones from the Pimax 4K. So if you know them, they are some kind of headphones which are connected with the head strap. So this might be something interesting. So very interesting, the Pimax Artisan, the version with the tracking. It's a tracking that has already been out there. And it's some kind of like add-on tracking. So it does come with one base station. It's a different technology. It's not the Lighthouse tracking base station, but it's like one base station that you would set up in front of you. And then you have some kind of tracking, which is 6 degrees of freedom for the headset and the two controllers. But it is not something that is comparable with the Lighthouse tracking. So probably you could compare it with having Lighthouse tracking, but only one base station. So it's kind of like a front-facing tracking that you also have with the PSVR. So if, for example, you turn your back to that one tracking station, then you won't have tracking anymore. Anyways, I'm going to check this out at CES 2020. So wait for CES 2020 to happen, and then I will tell you, what I think about this kind of tracking and also what I think about the controllers that come with that Nolo solution. So I learned about all of this in the interview that I just had with Kevin Henderson, the COO of Pimax. And now, without further ado, here is the full interview with Pimax Henderson, COO of Pimax. Enjoy. It is the 2nd January 2020. We are shortly before CES, and before I'm going to fly to Las Vegas tomorrow, it is my utter pleasure to speak with Kevin Henderson, the COO of Pimax. Hello, Kevin. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. And yourself?
I'm doing really well. It has been quite a while since we last talked, and I think it's great now to catch up and talk about all the things that happened in Pimax land, because there's been quite lots of things happening.
Right.
And
we're all ready to go to CES,
looking forward to go to CES and try out all of your headsets and talk with you again in person. But it's great that we have the chance now to catch up on everything that happened. Lots of things happened. You had like Pimax Day 1 and 2. You had so many new information,
Sure.
And yeah, lots of things happened, right? And now we have the time to talk about everything. So looking forward
Okay.
to that very nice interview with you before CES. So
Right.
Kevin, how was your first year as Pimax COO? You've been Pimax COO not for the whole year now, but
No,
you have
started
worked
out as a
you've worked.
consultant,
Yeah,
and then
right.
I was, did some things with the U.S. Office, and then moved on down the road.
Right. You have worked your
Uh,
way up to COO. So how has your first year been at Pimax?
well, you always have your ups and downs, and you wish, there's always difficulty when you have a company that's spread that has the great distance that we have. I'm not there all the time. And
Right.
so we have to working on the communication between all the different offices and the different people. But yeah, you work it out over time, and you get better at it over time. And I'm sure it's frustrating for them, as it is for anyone. But I tell you, one person that has contributed a lot to that and made my life a lot easier is Martin, who is fundamental to the communication. He's a real trooper when it comes to things like that.
Right. So
Sweeviver, as you
yes,
would say.
Martin's, of course, we know him. Yeah, so it's good that the company finally has like at least two Western guys there working and helping to improve communication. I believe that helps a lot.
Yep.
Anyways, let's directly talk about the interesting questions that lots of people from the community are
Sure.
probably wondering about.
Jump right into it.
And these questions have to do with the new Pimax headsets, the Pimax
Sure.
8KX and the Pimax 8K Plus, your new
Right.
products, and also the modular audio strap. So
Right.
you had talked about the Pimax 8KX in your Pimax Day streams,
Yes.
and they were supposed to come, I think, in December,
Right.
but then they got delayed again, unfortunately. And my first question to you would be, when can people expect the Pimax 8KX and the Pimax 8K Plus?
Well, the good news is that it's always hard to predict these things because when you do your testing, you build your samples and you do your testing. You never know uh, what the results are going to be necessarily. That's why you do the test. But so if you get a test that doesn't go as well as you plan, then the next sample you try to correct for anything. That all determines part of the timeline. So in the case of the Plus and the X, we did a lot of refinements to them, but then all of a sudden, we in early December, things really started to fall into place and much better. The samples started coming back, passing everything with flying colors, and we ended up. We had said we were going to delay for a minute there. We said we were going to delay the X all the way out to April or May or something, and now I think we're pretty close back to the original schedule or close to it.
For
So
the Pimax 8KX and the 8K Plus, or
yeah, we're already shipping the Plus.
okay,
There were already people on the forums that have them. I saw
oh
some
really?
reviews, and of course, we'll get some samples over to you, and maybe
Okay,
you can take one back from CES even.
that would be
But
nice. I
but
would
that said,
take the 8KX and the Plus for
yeah,
sure.
why not? Right? I think we might be able to work something out. We'll see.
Okay.
Our big thing is, though, the ones that we've sent out. This is something that's important to know. The ones that have been sent out don't have they don't have the modular audio strap.
Hmm.
And so they have everything but that.
Hmm.
And so and they do have what we would consider to be the final firmware, although I don't want to step on the headline, but we've got some new firmware with some new features that you get to read about soon
Hmm.
in the press release, which will be out on the 7th, the morning of the 7th, I think, or is it the 6th? No, it's the 7th. So there will be a press release that details some of these new things. But yeah, we're shipping the 8K Plus. The Mass will be a little bit behind it. The X, I think, will see some shipping. around. I mean, there'll probably be some in the week after CES or so. There'll be at least some going out to customers. So instead of March, April, May, it'll begin in January.
Okay, cool. That's good news. So shipping
So
of the Plus has already started. Did I get that right? And
that's right.
shipping of the 8KX is probably going to also start in January.
Yeah, I saw some
Okay,
unboxings and some things on the Vision. Remember, these are the Vision.
right.
Uh, and the Vision, there was a brief time where we made just 8K pluses that weren't Vision. And those had the older housings and the older face pads and some other,
Right. I think that
didn't
I
have
got one
any.
of those before, right?
Yeah, and there's a
Yes.
lot of the Visions have a lot of other improvements.
Okay.
They actually have different electronics in them. I mean, they've got different firmware. There's a lot of improvements in the Vision series that aren't in a regular um, Pimax. So
Okay. Yeah, looking forward to try this out. Probably at CES very
yeah,
soon.
you'll get to see, and you'll see the mass with it too.
Okay, that's
I
great.
think all the units have the mass on them at CES,
Okay, cool.
and
So
it's a later version of the mass than the ones that were shown at VR Days and VR Spaces and some of these other places. So much
okay.
later.
So I'm wondering
These
if
are akin to what you'll actually receive.
okay.
So look at it, and we want the reviews from the press review copies to all have the mass. I don't want to
Okay,
get
that makes sense.
yeah, I don't want it to get out there where people think that you can somehow get a Pimax 8K Plus or a Pimax 8K X without a mass. I mean, our goal is that's going to be part of the package.
All right.
And
So let
we
me
don't
let me
want
ask
people
you
to
one
complain
question.
about
So
numbers,
so when you say like 8KX is going to ship in January, like at what
not a
kind of
few,
a few? So exactly, that was
not
my
a
next
lot.
question. So so
Yeah.
if you, what does it mean? Like when will you be able to sell them at scale? Like the people who have pre-ordered them last year, can you say, okay, you're going to get yours for
Well,
sure around
well,
this and this time?
yeah. So you know that the Chinese New Year is January 25th. So which is a big date for us because a lot of the company doesn't operate after that day for a
Right.
bit, and so the shipping will will go until some point before there'll be some shipping before that day, and then the shipping will resume afterward about a week afterwards. So there's going to be like 3 weeks where there won't be any shipping, but there will be some before, and so people during that time will probably see some unboxings and some other things.
Okay, but when will you be able to send them at scale?
In February, in the late February, it'll start to scale, and we've already. One thing people should know is some of the parts are already being made at scale.
Okay.
The housings, some of the electronics, the parts that that got to a final state are already being made in scale. They're made in the you know
So okay,
500
so
plus.
which parts are you still waiting on? Like what is the problem to
Well,
like
it's
produce them at
assembly.
scale?
It's the assembly and the testing.
Hmm.
Remember that has to be scheduled because we build our existing headsets as well. So you have your production days for all the existing SKUs, and then you have production days for the X, and the X requires some special attention because it's new, and so you allocate extra time and extra resources to do the builds on a new SKU like that. But these units actually that we're showing at CES are from that, and so these are the first ones that did run through some of that process, not all the process, but some of the process.
Okay, so anyways, you're going to send out the first ones in January already, and
So
some of them, and you believe that late February you will be able to produce the 8KX at scale. Is that correct?
yeah,
Can I keep
yeah,
that like this?
yeah.
Okay.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Into March, I think in March you'll have really good scale.
Okay. Let me
And
note that much really good scale.
yeah, I think late February you'll start to see, a lot of people getting the tracking numbers, and then in March you'll see a lot more. And I
Okay.
think I would suspect that, you've got all the backers that have been waiting for a long time. I hope my hope and all of our hopes is that we can cover all of those in March and have it where there aren't any remaining.
Okay, so first you're going to send the 8KX to the backers, of course, right? Who back the 8KX? I think
Right.
how many? Like 500 or so?
There's 400 of those.
400.
There's
Okay.
200 that had the kits are the with the base stations controllers, and then there's another 200 that just got the headset.
All right.
So,
And
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 of
the
those, a fair amount of them
and and
upgraded
these and these
index.
eight and these 8KX, they will already come with the modular audio strap or not?
Yeah, the ones in late February and March might have the strap. They'll have the over-the-ear version. The ones that are
The deluxe version.
the non-deluxe version.
Ah, the non-deluxe
It'll
version.
be the modular audio strap with the over-the-ear where the speakers are up.
Ah, okay. Yeah, not like this,
Ones
not
that we
over the
show
ear.
at CES will be that version.
Okay. Okay, it's the normal modular audio strap without the. Okay, got it.
Yeah, we
So,
don't even get the drivers that are supposed to go into the 8KX until late end of February. We receive for the deluxe version.
okay.
It has a different driver for the audio.
Okay, so you will have the normal modular audio strap earlier though, and
Yeah.
and is it also going to go out to all the people who are waiting for it, who have backed the 5K plus and
Yeah, that's
100K?
the other thing. That thing's going to have the full production, so that you'll start to see people who've been waiting for forever to get their strap. I'm
So
sure
when
we'll
is when is it coming?
as well.
When is it going to come? The MAS.
It'll start. I think people will start to see them in March, and
Okay.
I think maybe some in late February.
Okay. So modular audio strap is now March 2020 for the normal one, not for the deluxe one.
Right. In large quantity. Yeah.
Okay.
And then there'll probably be some in late February where people get their tracking numbers, but as you know, it takes time to ramp up all the logistical aspects. Remember, this is something we have to ship to almost everyone,
Right. Right.
many thousands. So hopefully we can combine as many of these pieces as possible.
Okay, got it. So then another question that I have written down is, from where actually do these 8KXs and 8K pluses will they be sent? Will they be sent from China, or here in Europe will they be sent from the UK, or how does it actually work?
That's a bit of that is up in the air. I know that the first ones will be coming from Shanghai, but our hope is that we shift the shipping to more local, more regional locations as time goes along.
Okay, but first of all, from Shanghai directly to everywhere in the world.
Right.
Okay, so that also brings me to the next question about the tax payments. So in the beginning where people could pre-order the AKX, first there was kind of chaos with the tax payment. For some people did have to pay tax, some people did not have to pay tax. Could you tell us where we are right now with the tax payments? Do people have to
Sure.
pay tax directly when they order it, or do people have to pay tax once UPS
Of course,
brings
everybody
it to
has to
them?
pay. There's no escape from the tax. I mean, so
Well,
uh,
it depends. If you would already have it in the European warehouse, then for Europeans, no, right? But somebody has to pay tax, right?
yeah, somebody has to pay the
Someone
tax.
has to do it. But who is it going to be?
You know, it's just part of the. I think we ran a little. Martin ran a little study where he was running the numbers on the just on Oculus and Valve and others, and they're averaging 20 to 25% more than the U.S. price on pretty much across the board. So
Yep, that's right.
and
Unfortunately.
the same thing with Samsung and others. So I have no doubt that we will be that we will have a scenario where the taxes are shown in the cart, and so people will see them, but they will be there. absolutely.
Right. Okay. Yes, it's good to have like a clear answer, so people
Yeah.
will know. Okay, this will come without tax. I still have to pay tax either directly at
Also, it's a
checkout
little
or.
misleading when you see it in dollars and not euro. I think it needs to be more in their local current show in the local
Right. Right.
currency.
Yeah.
I think that we had a lot of flaws in how it was shown, and we also had a lot of flaws in how the shipping was calculated. So
Okay.
now we're still getting complaints that happen related to that. So one thing we're going to be doing is we're going to try to convert some of the shipping to flat rate shipping,
Mm-hmm.
and but it'll still show the taxes. So you'll see some of the flat rate shipping, and then the taxes.
All right.
In
Okay. Good. All right. All right. Then I have another big question for
Sure.
you. What is the Pimax Artisan?
Sure.
We've
And
been
why?
all wondering. We've been all
is it?
wondering about this question. Like, tell me.
What is it and why?
Please.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. What is it and why? And what's going on? And tell me everything that you can tell right now. That would be amazing.
Well, I mean the lowest price headset we had was is the 5K Plus, and the 5K Plus, when you take a 5K Plus and you add the base stations and controllers to it, and you add your headphones, and you add you put in all of the accoutrements that you need for VR. Also, and on top of all of that, you need a relatively decent computer. And so if you take all of those factors and add them together, it meant that you had a relatively significant investment. And between the computer, the headset, and the base stations and controllers and all the parts. And so in order to increase the volume of some of the components and decrease some of the overall cost of some of the components, we wanted to get an entry level SKU in there, and so we had to think of, well, could we just take the 5K Plus and turn that into the entry level SKU, or should we give it its own name and have it where it's basically its own series that could have special bundles and special pricing and special where it's outside of the normal the Pimax 5K plus 8K plus, the Vision series. Everything is going to ultimately be converted to the Vision series on the higher end, and the Artisan will be the entry level. Now, what's special about the Artisan is the panels are less expensive. There were some panels that are new. They do have new technology in them. They are the latest and greatest, but these panels are designed to be low cost.
Okay.
And some of the tech inside the Artisan, as far as the panels go, and some of the electronics that surround that, cost less.
Okay.
And
So is it LCD? Is it LCD RGB stripe or?
It's LCD, and it's an RGB stripe LCD,
Okay.
and its diagonal field of view is around 170, which equates to around 140 horizontal.
Okay.
It's got it's got roughly the same vertical FOV, I think, and the resolution is lower.
So it's like the normal FOV on the other headsets?
Pretty much.
Okay.
So slightly smaller than the normal FOV on a regular Pimax.
Right. And how about the?
It's noticeably larger than an index. If you just go A, B on an index,
Okay.
it's a massive compared to that.
Okay, got it. So the display, the resolution it's two displays, right? So you still have the IPD
Right.
adjustment,
It's two
right?
displays.
Okay. Everything the same,
It's hard.
basically.
Yeah, it looks like a 5K. It has the newer housing materials. It has a lot of new. All of those, that sort of improvement is in there.
But it's not the
There's
it's not the rubbery material, right?
No.
Okay.
There's two versions of it. There's a standalone version, and then there's a version that has the accessories.
Okay.
The standalone version uses the steam tracking just like a 5K Plus does.
Okay.
And of course, you can add. I mean, in the non-standalone version has some headphones on a strap. it's not the modular audio strap. It's more akin to what you saw back in the Pimax 4K days.
Okay. Okay, that's not bad.
No, it's actually quite nice.
Okay.
It's a better iteration of that. But that's basically what it is. You get the full boat. You actually get the controllers, you get tracking, you get the headset, you get the earphones. You get the whole thing in an relatively inexpensive package.
Okay,
Also,
so now tell us, what about what kind of tracking and what kind of controllers do we get?
uh, it comes with the Nolo tracking.
Okay. Okay. So do we
Uh,
do we also get the Nolo controllers?
you do.
Okay. Oh, then I have them here already. Then I can show them later.
Yeah, it's the latest version. They've been updating them,
Okay.
and we've been working with them.
Okay.
There's going to be support baked into PyTool for it.
So
Uh,
basically, is it still the same system that you have like some kind of front-facing tracking? It's not like 360 tracking, right? Is it still the same?
yeah, no, it's 6 degrees of freedom tracking,
Yeah,
just
of
like
course.
it's a standard.
Yes.
It's it operates with everything and it works fine and it's inexpensive and it gives people a way to get a field of view that's better than an index, for instance, resolution that's roughly the same as that, and you get the tracking with the hand controllers, the
Right.
tracking,
Right.
the whole thing for less than for for not much more than just the controllers and base stations cost by themselves. The whole headset with everything is right there. I mean, if you look at Valve on the for instance for the base stations at 150 each, so you're talking $300 there, and then on top of that you add the index controllers, which is another what 270. So you're talking 570 just for the base stations and controllers with no headset.
Right. Right. Okay.
This is going to be inexpensive. You get everything all in one. It'll run on a low-end computer with a 1050. You get a nice frame. It's 120 hertz, which it has a high refresh rate. It uses all of our technologies, such as our all of our foveated rendering. All of our other tech still works
Okay.
in the Artisan. So you get a nice, smooth, high frame rate. And on top of that,
What is the frame rate? Is it 120 hertz, right?
it's 120. Yeah. On top of that, it's still compatible with all the Pimax modules, like our upcoming wireless module, the eye tracking, the hand tracking. You don't have to. You can, if you later on do get index controllers and base stations, you can pop off the Nolo and and use those instead. So you can just
All
use
right.
that entry level solution,
Yeah.
and then you can switch to bigger, better things, as you go.
Okay. Yeah, cool. So actually, I can remember the Nolo. I have it here. So it's still the same system. So you have one kind of base station that is kind of
Right.
modular. I
Right.
can bring it basically anywhere. I pop
Sure.
it somewhere, and then it's sending out some signals. I
Right.
think it's not lasers. It's something
Yeah,
different, right?
you can
Some audio
you
things.
under this system, you can take a Pimax and literally throw it on a laptop at a party
Right.
or
Right.
something.
Right.
You can have, but we didn't really want to go down that path with the Vision series. We have a with the Vision series, it's intended to be higher end. It has higher end video requirements. It needs a higher end PC, and it's a higher end device, and it's made to be up into the zone of some of your higher end headsets, like your X-Talls and what the Star VR was and all that. That's the other piece, and when you get into the 8KX especially, that's the zone that you're in. So,
Okay.
and even the 8K Plus for that matter.
Right.
So, and the panel tech in the X and the Plus is amazing. If you read some things that people have already said about it, it really is the latest and greatest. And and the other thing was, just a little context, I guess, is that we actually did do some work on inside-out tracking, similar to the WMR and some of those options, right? The problem, there were a lot of problems with that. Number one, that it has some inherent limitations that are natural to that type of, of tracking, and it was going to make it where we couldn't include the steam tracking in the same device.
Okay.
So there was no upgrade path to base stations and index controllers, and later on sword controllers and all of that. So we didn't really want to. So we ultimately decided the Nolo path was a better path for the entry level than inside out tracking.
So okay, got it. So about the Nolo controllers, can you tell us a bit more about them? What do they have, like a joystick or a trackpad? I think a trackpad, right? They have a trackpad.
Yeah, well, we're going to bring them to CES. Don't want to step on the toes of any of the demos, but yeah, it's what you've seen
before. Okay, the same ones, yeah.
Although these are manufactured recently, they've gone through many iterations of that. I mean, it's like our versions of the of the index controllers, are refined in a lot of ways. They come straight from the factory. The clicking issue that people talk about, ours don't have, for example. And yeah, on the Nolo controllers, they're the hand controllers with a little ball on the top.
Yeah, exactly. Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
But they've gone through many revisions of firmware, many revisions of the tracking on the refresh rate, and all sorts of improvements over time.
Okay. So you're like happy with them, like using it on the Artisan?
Yeah, it's pretty decent actually, and it's inexpensive. It's decent. We made a special deal, partnership with them, and where we can build this package that has the new panel tech, the wide field of view, 6 degrees of freedom. You can throw it on a laptop. It's inexpensive, and there's an upgrade path.
Okay.
So, which means that, you know what, if you want to move to the Steam controllers and the lighthouses, you can do that. The headset's fully compatible. If you just want to take it on a trip to a party or something, show it to a bunch of people, you connect this up to it. But when you're at home, you can go index controllers and base stations if you want.
Okay.
So
there's
there's an upgrade path, and the reasoning behind it is we wanted an entry level set of devices, but we didn't want to preclude an upgrade path into bigger, better, faster headsets.
Okay.
And,
so they're going
that's
to.
what the Artisan is.
Got it.
Also, the standalone Artisan's very inexpensive.
So there's going to be two different Artisan SKUs. One is like without the tracking of the Nolo one.
Headset.
Just a headset, no headphones, nothing.
It doesn't have anything. It's just it's just the headset. It's the standalone version is intended as a replacement for like a Vive Pro.
Okay.
Or original Vive, an original Oculus Rift, Rift S. It's an inexpensive replacement. You can buy it. Okay. And especially if you have a Vive or a Vive Pro, you can buy it. You can get the wide field of view, and in most cases a much higher perceived resolution. You'll see more of that when you get to review one. And of course, you get to review one with the headphones and the Nolo and the whole thing.
Right. At CES, you're going to have the Nolo version there to show it.
We do.
Okay.
We've got there's only, I will tell, just so that you know, at CES, the only thing we're missing for the CES is the wireless.
All right. Okay.
And our plan originally was to show that and to do a demo, but there was all sorts of things that prevented it. So in the future, we're in the near future, actually, we plan to definitely do some video and show people what that is and how that works and how neat it really is. I think people will be blown away by it once they see it.
Okay.
So we have a lot of surprises, by the way. There's some surprise items that will be at CES, and I know you're going to be there. I have fun showing them to you when you get to the booth.
All right.
I think it's going to be a blast. It always is.
Okay, let's see.
This was my 31st.
Wow, 31st.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I've actually
cool.
been in the booth. I've run booths 25 times at CES, I think.
Right. Cool. So, second time for Pimax.
Right.
Right.
The first time I'd only been with the company, man.
Yeah, I know.
My first
You've
day.
just arrived there. It was like your first
Yeah,
day there at Pimax, right?
no, my first day was the 18th of like December, right before
Okay,
Christmas.
right.
As a when they I was just a consultant, and they asked me to develop plans for CES, but I wasn't even going to go.
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then they upgraded. They're like, well, we really think you should be there, and the
Right.
rest is history, I guess. But this time, the last time I was the only native English speaker at the booth, who grew up that way, and but this time we've got our sales team from the U.S. Is there with me. Of course, Martin's there with me. We have a lot of other people there. We have 3 times as many people this year
All
as
right.
last year.
Are you going to be showing the sword controllers as well?
We will be showing the sword controllers, though. Our focus. We have a pretty much immediate availability on the. We're now shipping the index controllers, and we're shipping the base stations. We've been shipping them for since Christmas,
Not to
and
me though.
yeah, we'll get them out. In fact, maybe you can pick yours up at the at the thing. But as far as that goes, we're now have a steady flow,
Okay.
and we're going to be
So you're
shipping those
sending them
all the
out.
way up to. We're going to be shipping those out to people all the way up to the holiday,
All right.
the New Year's Day for the China New Year's.
Okay. So
So you'll see a lot of people getting them. We actually. We had a lot of trials and tribulations in getting those packaged and ready to ship, and getting them into logistics and the whole thing, and customs and the whole thing. But now that's all finished. We actually have a large number of those in stock now,
all right.
in the many thousands.
You mean
So
the base stations?
and the controllers
Okay,
too,
good.
the index
Yeah, many
controllers.
people are waiting for them,
Yeah, in
of
fact, as
course.
far as I know, we're the only people who have index controllers. you know,
Yeah, that's kind of funny though.
we got them all. In fact, I'm
Cool.
sure we got them all.
Great.
So,
So, yeah, so you just sent them out,
yep.
and
And so
people.
we've been shipping them. People have been getting them. We're
Okay.
going to continue to flow them out. We're going to get faster and faster at that.
When do you
And
think you can? When do you think you
happy
can
to
send the
say the
first?
baby buses, index base stations, all going out.
Okay.
A few artisans are going out.
Yeah. When
So
is the
a lot of
artisan?
things
When is the artisan actually going out?
The standalone artisans are in the hands of some people. The people, and most of those people are in South Korea, and some in Japan, and some other places.
Okay.
There are some out there. We
Okay.
do manufacture them. Will be the version that I'm excited about, that I think people will be surprised with, is the version that has the Nolo. It's surprisingly good.
When
And
is it
so,
gonna? When is it gonna come out?
when the team told me about it, Martin and I, we were like, what? But then we started seeing it, testing. It's one thing to hear about something, almost on paper, and it's another thing to get to play with it and mess with it and see it and understand. And when we worked on the plans for it, to try to flesh out exactly,
So
how it's going to work.
when is it gonna happen?
We'll have them of course, we'll have them for people to play around with at CES, and you included.
Right.
And then after that, some will go out before the Chinese New Year. But no, the entry-level devices in quantity will be, late. It'll be February, March, in
Okay.
pretty good quantity. But some quantity.
So when will people be able to
Some
buy
of
them
these
from your
devices are
website?
already flowing out in 2019.
Right,
and
right. I
as
saw like on
2020 they're flowing
Alibaba,
out now.
on some other websites, people could buy them, right?
Yeah.
But when is it going
Yeah.
to be available on Pimax.com?
It would be, I would suspect, right after CES, you'll start to see them appear. And then after Chinese New Year,
You're going to send them out.
we'll have some fanfare for it, and we'll have a lot of videos and all kinds of promotional materials and
Okay.
things.
So it's interesting for me now to learn about the Nolo, of course. So I've tried the Nolo, and it's actually not bad. But the only thing about it is it's more like a front-facing system. So you have to face towards it, just like the PSVR. So if your back is towards the thing, it won't track.
It's actually improved a lot. That was one of my Martin and I concerns actually. But when you get to try it, I think you will be pleasantly surprised of some of the many updates they've made.
But it's still front-facing tracking, right?
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of having one base station.
Yeah, right. Because you have one base station there, basically.
Yeah, it's basically like a Pimax with one base station. You can walk all around.
Yeah.
You can in the testing, you can actually take the controller and put it kind of behind you. And I mean, it's not. I think when you actually do the testing at CES, you can take it, through its paces on one of your streams, and
I will definitely do that
and show people what the entry-level Pimax would be like. But I would point out that it's worth pointing out the facts, and one of the facts is that there is an upgrade path. That is this entry level. It still has all the Steam trackers, both on the sides and in the front, on the headset. So all of our full Steam assembly is still in there. So
right.
So if you want to go base station, you could get one base station and go that way. You could get a base station and a pair of controllers, whatever you want. The upgrade path is there. And then once you have those, if you wanted to get a bigger, better Pimax, just headset only, you could, of course, always do that. So the idea is that this gets you in for a very, very reasonable, fair price into Pimax. It gets you in for a lot less than what, say, an Index would cost with the full, basically a fraction of what that would be. If you bought the Index with the controllers and the base stations. But you get all the benefits of wide field of view, high refresh rate.
Okay, I get it. So the question, of course, is the price.
Sure.
What is the price?
That'll be something we reveal at the CES in the press release.
Okay.
I definitely wouldn't want to step on that toe. I will just say it's a reasonable price. And it's a price that I think will get a lot of people in to the ecosystem, and then and the headset itself is a very reasonable price if you get it as a standalone.
The headset itself, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yep. But the version that has the earphones, the Nolo, the whole thing, is a very reasonable price, and I think it makes it just a superb entry-level headset, and I hope people when you do the review on it, that you consider the price. What you get for your money.
Sure. Price is always important.
Value.
So if I could get the full set for let's say, I don't know, 500 or 600. It might be something that might be really cool for this wide field of view. Well, we'll see. That was, by the way, just my guess. I don't know, right? I don't know the pricing.
We're going to have, these modules that we've been talking about. You'll be able to do, I mean, just think. You could take that, an inexpensive headset like that, and add things like eye tracking. And add things like other hand tracking. You can do any module that we add will be able to be part of that. You can do 2 at a time. You can decide to mate it up to the Index controllers and a lot of other things.
Okay.
You can turn this thing into something really impressive.
All right.
Over time.
Okay.
And I think that's a capability that you don't get any other way,
Right. So the Artisan that comes with the Nolo tracking and the headphones is going to be fully Steam VR compatible.
Yes.
Right.
All of the Artisans are.
Okay, and also the same thing with the Oculus games, just like before. Everything is in PyTool. The same thing. Sure. Basically, it's all the same, just like you're going to use the Nolo tracking.
Yep. Except there'll be new versions of those things around CES time. So.
Okay, so looking forward to hear more, and of course, looking forward to hear about the price.
Yeah, we're going to release of course, in the CES press release, it contains the price. We're going to be talking about that a lot.
Yeah,
We'll
right.
be talking about the upgrade path. We'll be talking about the modules that you can get for it.
Hmm.
Uh, and of course, I mean, if you wish, one thing to think about too is that you can also swap out the headphones and on the Artisan, you can put the mass on there.
Okay, got it.
So if you
So,
decide to do
so
that, you can do that. And then if you get a better Pimax headset later, you can pull the mass off. You can pull all the modules out. You can take your index controllers and your base stations and just buy the headset standalone. Add all that in there,
right.
and
So,
get to keep it.
okay, so how about the headphones of the Artisan? So you mentioned you kind of like them. What if some people already want to have them now if they don't want to wait for the MAS? Are they able to buy them somehow without the Artisan?
Oh no, not
Okay, so
we
this is just with the Artisan.
right.
Okay.
I mean, I guess theoretically you could. We haven't talked about that,
Right.
but the mass is so close. I mean, we're going
Okay,
to be
yeah,
showing that
sure.
I don't think. I think the time index between when we're
It's
mass
not worth it to go for the Artisan headphones.
week or two, maybe. I
Okay.
mean,
Okay,
it
then it
has to
does
be.
make sense. It was just some idea that came to my
Yeah,
mind that probably some
he's
people might want to go
this
for it.
headphone solution is meant to be, it is more akin to the
Affordable.
Pimax 4K
Yeah,
version.
that was quite nice. It looked
Super
quite
nice.
nice. Yeah, it
It's
looked quite
actually
nice
better than
actually.
that was. So, and so, it's meant to be an entry level solution, but be nicer than other things that are out there and compare favorably to them. Um, and still have the upgrade path into bigger, better,
Okay,
faster things.
got it.
We want it to be where you just swap out the base headset and you can move on up if you want to.
All right, got it. Okay, cool. Looking forward to try
I
the
mean, heck,
Artisan at
over the
CES.
X, in the years to come, as the X becomes moves down the chain, and we have bigger, better things, that you'll be able to keep all your stuff that you got on the Artisan and move into that.
Okay, good. Good.
Sure.
I'm very much looking forward to try out the Artisan, and of course, everyone is going to be interested in the pricing because I think that's going to be the key factor. Is it going to be a price that is like super attractive for me, as compared to trying to get an index at some later point in time once they're available again? So I think
Yep.
that's going to be really really important, and we're going to find out more about this at CES.
Yeah, I would just say that people that say that adding the Artisan and some of these other parts, that affect our timeline, I don't think so. The timelines there's so much to them, and there's so many points in which any particular piece is going through a production
Yeah.
process and production testing and tooling and all of that. I don't think the Artisan affected the timelines on the mass or any of the other things at all.
We're going to talk about the critical things now actually.
Sure.
So that's a good point there that you mentioned that. So honestly speaking, when I was looking at the kind of communication that came out of Pimax, I was scratching my head, like, right, and it was like a bit tough at
And
times.
rightfully so.
And rightfully so, you say. So I need to mention these kind of things that people were like wondering about. And like one critic that I mentioned on my channel is like, it seems like the Pimax lineup is so complicated in my personal
Sure.
point of view. There's so many things, and if I'm somebody who wants to get into VR and I look at all the Pimax offerings, it's like, oh my goodness, which one should I go for? You have the Pimax 5K Plus, the Pimax 8K Plus, the Pimax 5K XR,
Sure.
the Pimax 8KX. Now you're coming up with the Artisan, and you also have some other models which are more for professionals. It is, in my opinion, it is too complicated. Why can't you? Why is that so? And wouldn't it be easier if you just had like one model which is like for the high end, the 8KX, for example, and then probably one entry level thing, the Artisan, for example, and make it easier for the customers to get into the Pimax headsets? Why is it so complicated?
Well, we have a much more our system of developing headsets and tech is actually with the concept of a headset for everyone. The problem is if you if you go completely entry level, for instance, you really got to go down an Oculus path, with the Rift S, for example. In order to get the total system cost down, you'd have to go with a different tracking solution. There's a lot of things that you would have to do to cut the cost down, and there are parts in our headsets that are expensive to make, and the same thing, on the high end, some of those parts are expensive, and they drive the price up, and it's not just the cost of the parts, but it's also the expense of the driver development and all the support piece on the back end. So if you have a really high end headset, I've always had this theory, and the theory is the Walmart theory of selling devices. And you go and you buy anything from a pencil to a TV. Walmart will have low, medium, and high. You'll have the $1 pencil, you'll have the $2 pencil, and you'll have like a $10 pencil. But in order to do that, you have to be able to have your three models and then deprecate the ones in the middle, as you go. And in effect, there are, over time, will be active SKUs, and then there are inactive SKUs. For instance, the Pimax 8K. The original Pimax 8K is an inactive SKU. It still exists for warranty purposes and et cetera, but generally it's a discontinued device, and that's the way electronics work. We have your in our case, you've got your low, your medium, and your high, and then as we move on down the road, we deprecate the ones that are previous. But the Artisan will be the low series.
Yeah, I get it. But
you're going to see some what the medium will be at CES, and the high, of course.
Yeah, but still, don't you think it's too complicated? So I get it. You want to have one headset for everyone, but that is for us Westerners a bit complicated. I mean, I know it's the Chinese approach. Okay, we're going to make everything, and then we're going to throw it at the wall and see what sticks. But for us Western people, it's too complicated. Don't you agree with this? Like, okay, you don't have to say that. I don't want to make you say that, but I'm just wondering.
No, it's fine.
I'm wondering just one more thing. Sure. Why offer 8KX and 8K Plus? Like they're just $300 apart from each other, and the 8KX, it basically has the 8K Plus inside already. It's just
Sure.
like why? Why not just say, okay, you know what, our top offering is the 8KX and that's it. I am sure you will be selling way more.
You'd be amazed how many people will not go for the extra 300.
Yeah, but if you didn't offer that model, everyone would win. Especially because they would still go for the 8KX anyways, because they're ready to pay $1,000 already.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to hit the sweet spot with the X. Is the problem. The margin would be so low on the X at the 8K Plus price, or if you try to do something.
No. I wouldn't go for the 8K Plus price. I would still go. Well, I would probably even make it more expensive, since, well, when I tried it, it was definitely more worth than $1,300.
Sure.
Right. I mean, the price is really cheap compared for what it offers.
There's just so many things in VR that you could potentially do. I mean, you have your eye tracking, your hand tracking, your wireless, your longer cables, all of those kinds of things. If you start adding those in, if you wanted to buy a headset and what floats your boat is having a longer cable, which the X can't have at all. Even, so there's the way that the X handles the signal is very different than a Plus. So the Plus is much more akin to, like the 5K Plus or the XR as far as that part of it.
The thing is, like you and me, we understand it because we are like the super, super enthusiasts. We're totally in our bubble. Like, I totally get what you say, but if anyone who's interested in VR wants to get into your product and watches this interview now, they will just say, 8K Plus, 8KX, it's too much.
No,
like I totally get that. We get it. I also get
you
it.
take an AKX and you start adding,
Yeah.
all of the various modules to it, and et cetera, over time. You really, you start to get into a fairly, a fairly premium price, and the computer required, and so having a lineup of things that stretch all the way down into the Artisan opens it up for a lot of people, and it gives us the low, medium, and high that we can focus on. And remember, low, medium, and high is what we focus on. That doesn't mean we don't have some boutique headsets in there somewhere that people that want OLED, for instance, like with the XR.
Okay, so
could still get.
but are we going to see any more models at the CES that we don't know about, or?
I don't want to step on a headline, but you might.
Oh my God! Come on.
You might.
Okay, so probably more headsets coming up from Pimax. Anyways.
You might
Well.
see something that would qualify under that
Okay.
banner.
All
I
right.
think you'll be. Let's just say this. I think you might find a pleasant surprise or two in there. Maybe even a big one.
Okay. Let's see.
That will be fun to see and test for you.
Well,
And,
I love to test headsets, so for me it's okay. I'm just concerned it's going to be too many SKUs,
Well, remember, the concept is to bring in the new and deprecate the old, but you want to keep the older headsets alive for warranty and replacement purposes, and etc. But you'll see that we will have a certain more limited lineup that we focus on, that we focus the sales on, that we focus the outreach on, and then we'll have the single entry-level device that's got a completely different marketing thought process behind it. It goes into a different place, like the Artisan.
Right. All right. So the next critical point that I want to talk
Sure.
about, people have been waiting for the modular audio strap for a long time, right? They've been waiting. Basically waiting for it since the Kickstarter. So
I'm a backer too. Me and Mark both are owed one. He's backer number 2, and I'm.
I know. Yeah. So it's just like it's just tough to see Pimax introducing model after model, new screen after new screen, but not seeing the modular audio strap like emerge. So
when Mark and I came in, we were pounding that drum from the early days.
Yeah, but how come it's still not there? People are waiting for it. So why not?
Right.
So why talk about Artisan, not new headsets? Why not say, okay, you know what? We need to bring out the modular audio strap. Where are the priorities? So now you said it's like in March, but it should have been there already in December. So what's the point with this?
I say mass production then, but I think you'll see a fair amount of people that start writing reviews and showing it and all that between now and then. So what's
just
like
this?
the 8 Plus and others.
So what about the priorities? Why not prioritize this modular audio strap?
The modular audio strap is a priority, but it's on a completely different manufacturing track than the headset is. So it's made at a completely different place. It's tooled. It's all completely separate. So, but it has speakers, and it's got a lot of considerations that aren't part of the headset consideration. So it's a different team. So
yeah,
and you have to think about comfort, and you have to think about whether it fits an Asian head or a Western heads, and a lot of other things. So you wind up, and how does it affect the distortion? And you have a lot of the strap affects a lot of things.
Yeah.
And
but you must understand that
totally changes the experience.
I'm sure that you understand it, that like the backers and the people who are waiting for this, it's tough for them to see suddenly there's the Artisan on the website, where they would rather see the MAS on the website, That's like, why? Why is it like that?
Imagine for a moment that you work at a company like this, and they present you with a sample. Hypothetically, you get to see the samples of what's being worked on, and what if you saw it and it wasn't something that you thought would be a good thing, you know. One of those things, those kinds of things where or what if it's something that doesn't fit a Western head or is comfortable or negatively impacts the visual experience, and a lot of it, or the audio isn't good or whatever. All we can do, Martin and I and others, is just to, I think that our feedback probably delayed the whole thing. I won't even say probably. Our feedback definitely delayed the whole thing.
Okay.
But the question is, would you rather have something exist at all, just even if it's not good, even if it's not what you dreamed of, what you think it should be, or should it be something that is widely hailed as excellent, And there's your debate. Your debate is, do you just get something out, or do you get something out that's really good?
Okay.
And Martin and I and others that kind of have the same sort of thinking is that we really felt strongly that these things need to be really good. The comfort kit, for example, went through a lot of changes. I know we caused that thing to be delayed. Same thing. It's a piece that in the early iterations had some reasoning that, you can get it out, and you can get it out sooner. But what would you rather have, sooner or something that just really impacts the comfort and the visuals and and makes the whole experience better?
Okay.
So,
this is something that people can understand and relate to, I believe. This kind of things.
I mean, just think about it. If you got to test it and you're sitting there messing with it and you're like, oh man.
I was in this situation when I was checking out the Pimax 8K. I was one of the testers, right, with Martin, and we were thinking like, oh my goodness, what's going on here?
What if they had released one of those earlier ones that you had?
Yeah, that would be
before you put in your feedback.
That would have been bad.
Would you have gotten behind them?
No, of course not. But the thing is, I totally get it, and I think people can relate to what you just said. But on the other page,
and the community has a lot to say about it too.
Why is this not being communicated in a good way? Like we can remember Pimax Day 1 and 2, where you and Martin were standing there and telling us, okay, it's going to happen in December, and then it's not there in December, the modular audio strap, and people are just thinking, okay, people cannot trust this. People cannot trust the things that are coming out of your guys' mouth, because you're saying it, but it's not happening. So. This is just a problem.
It's a difference in. I think some of the differences are in Martin and I and others going in, and you get timelines from the manufacturing, and we even added to it. The timelines that we provided were actually conservative based on what we were getting back. But that said, since then, we've made it a practice to require that we actually get to see the renderings and the CAD drawings and all the images and the tooling, the pictures of the tools, and get a lot more of the hard evidence of various things happening that we want to see. And that we've been getting, and it's a different experience for he and I and some of the others that are on our side of it. So I think we feel a lot better about some of that piece than just receiving various timelines from the different teams. Now we actually get we get a little bit of meat with it every day, and you get different aspects of it all the time, and then and then they'll send us the samples, and we'll get to test them. We were in China. He and I were in there. I was in there twice in very short order. Of course, we had the Pimax Day 2 in China as well. But so we're there more, and we get to be in kind of the daily grind of going through all the samples and refining and doing it again. We were directly involved in all of the refinements to try to get these things into a state that where they're something that we think really enhances the headsets. And again, I think a lot of it could have been released if they were released like they were at the time. But it came down to this: do you want something that are you willing to take the heat for it for an extra 30 days or whatever to get all of the wants and desires of the community in there and our own testing, or do you want to just get it out and say you did it? Woohoo! Pat me on the back. We got it going. And
Yeah.
so,
I believe that the community is totally able to understand this if you say this like this. But if you go out there in Pimax Day 2 and if you say, okay, it's going to happen in December and then it's not happening, then it's a hit in the credibility, right?
Yeah, we wanted the team on on the outreach side wanted to have photos and and samples and demos and do a lot of things where we showed you what kind of the before and after, and oh by the way, we put some foam here, or we moved we thought that this was not comfortable, so this was moved around a little bit. The problem is if you do that, you do create a bit of a then the community will go into maximum overdrive that, oh no, the foam should be, there'd be huge debates over with lines being drawn and all sorts of how many cooks can you have in the kitchen is the question. And and the more you add, the more debatable it becomes, and the longer it takes. And if you try to be everything to everyone, then you wind up in a situation where it just never exists, and that's kind of where Pimax has.
I mean, that's of course your internal struggle about developing these things. But on the other side, it's just
your argument that we have too many headsets feeds right into that, right?
Yeah.
Everything to everyone. You've got all these different devices that to all these different markets, but if we did that, if we started going down that path with the straps and with a lot of these other parts, it would delay them just to the end of time, So I think that there's a certain list of things that have to be in there and have to be right. Some of the fruits of that were shown at VR Days, and I think we had pretty much universal. People really, really liked the comfort of the strap, of the samples, and the ones that were shown at CES were even better than that.
Yeah.
So
I liked them. I liked them a lot. But the thing is still. What I want to talk with you about is about the communication, the Pimax communication internally and externally. So that's still the problem. So
it is.
So what was the big problem? Like, for example, with this Artisan, that suddenly it was out there and everyone was thinking like, what is this? Why is it on the website? Why the Christmas decoration for the Artisan? What is with the question mark price?
It's for sale.
Yeah, exactly. And then it seemed like you guys were surprised yourselves.
We were.
So where is the problem? And are you working on like improving this kind of problem?
Oh yeah, and then the other one that surprised us on the outreach side was the December 3rd update that came out. That was a bit of a surprise for us all.
So what's happening? What's the problem? And are you working on this? What's happening there?
Yeah, there was some. I don't want to get too detailed about it, but there were some consequences for some of those things, and some of those people are not with the company anymore, to be frank. And,
okay. All right. Okay.
There was some at Pimax. Normally, that's not for someone like that. That's not normally the consequences, but in this case it was. And it's those kind of things are really unfortunate. Don't want to get too detailed into it, but let's just say that there's supposed to be a process for these, for those kinds of releases and that kind of information that just didn't happen. Even Robin didn't see those things. So
all right.
And so, um, there's a process that these things go through, and they have to be verified with there's more than just kind of a knee-jerk thought about what something will be like. Um, you know, there's more than just where you just take a knee-jerk and then that becomes your press release, and that becomes your something that's customer facing. So it shouldn't have, and it wasn't good.
Yeah,
And,
that's for sure. And
the individuals where that came from aren't at the company now.
okay. Yeah, so I think lots of things still have to improve, in my opinion. I can just see it from the outside, right? Like for me, okay, like for your Pimax days, for example, it was tough for me to talk about it since I had to myself find all the information instead of having like a press release.
Now,
Right?
those
It's
things
just
were
tough.
aimed. Yeah, a lot of people. We talked about having a press release for those. In fact, we ultimately did do one, but um, as far as the aim for the days, it wasn't aimed at consumers. It was aimed at people who have Pimaxes, and there's tens of thousands of people who have Pimax headsets. So, so those people were the primary focus of that outreach.
All right.
We just didn't have sufficient volumes on a lot of these things to make promises that you would be able to get, to the general consumers out there,
Yeah.
that they could get.
Anyways, for CES, there's going to be a press release, and all the members of the press
Yeah, no,
will be
that's
able
all.
to talk about it.
Yeah. No, the press release is finished. We've sent them out.
Okay.
And they're embargoed until the first day.
Okay, send me one too, please. Would be amazing
Yeah,
to get
no,
one
you'll
too.
get it. Yeah,
Okay.
we all got approved in the last day or so,
Okay.
and that did go through the process, and
Okay. Good.
all
So,
the items in it are fully fleshed out and verified, and there's a lot of good stuff in there, by the way,
all
if
right.
you check it out.
So I still want to talk about one more critical point, and
Sure.
that is actually one critical point why I at the moment do not recommend Pimax headsets to people on MRTV on my German and my international channel, and
Mhm.
that reason is the customer support. So I get lots of emails actually from members of my audience, from MRTV, from my community, that tell me, "Hey Sebastian, I have put in a Pimax ticket like a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't hear anything from them." And then probably once they got a reply, it was not a reply that helped them in any way. It was just like
Sure.
something like very like not a reply that helped them. So you have a problem with customer support, and
Indeed.
that's why I cannot recommend your headsets. And that's sad because I know actually your headsets are pretty good, right? Like when I tried the 8KX in Amsterdam, I really loved it. But yeah, with this kind of customer support, I cannot recommend it. So what's the problem with customer support, and how are you trying to improve it?
No, we're clearly adding more people to the support team, and we're doing a lot of things that revolve around how the tickets are handled and separated. I think some of the biggest problems were that some of the people in tech support just, are not, they don't speak the language that the requests are coming in, and so they sometimes don't understand what the request is. If the request comes in and it can be interpreted more than one way, it's hard to say. Like you were saying, the response that you get may not even be related to your request sometimes.
Which is very unfortunate for those who are waiting. They're frustrated, and they're turning their
Yeah, and
back
that's
towards
why.
Pimax, right?
Yeah, and that's why we created the U.S. office, and we're working on the European offices. But we really, those offices and those personnel aren't really contributing anymore. It's all coming out of Shanghai for the support and the service and those aspects of it, and
But why? Why?
that's unfortunate.
So all the support is now made in China.
Yeah.
So what? Why is it not coming out of your office in the US?
You know, they. I wish I could answer that. I think we could be of a. At no time did we have less tickets than when the U.S. office was contributing every day, and we had actually gotten the tickets for U.S.-based customers in Canada down to zero.
Yeah. So why don't you have it anymore?
And but they felt like it's more cost-effective and better to do it from Shanghai. And I hope that we can reinstitute some support in the U.S. and Europe, and I hope we can go down that path again. I think that was successful for us, and I think it actually saved a lot of money, in my opinion.
Well, I really think this is a problem of the company. Well, I know it's not your fault in general, right? It's you're not making you're not calling the shots, right? But the thing is, again,
my recommendation is and will be and will continue to be, and I know that everyone in the customer outreach part of the company agrees with this, and that is you really need to have people that speak the different languages. You need at least one person that can interpret properly all the different requests that come in, and that person needs to have sufficient authority to resolve the problems. And so there's two parts to that. One of them is understanding. Really, there are three parts to that. One of them is understanding the request properly. Second is having the authority to resolve it, and third is having the parts and materials in that region to support it from. And that means that if it's somebody in Germany, for example, it would be, I think your best scenario is have someone there who has the authority and the parts and all the accoutrements to solve that problem.
Okay, so the thing is, Kevin, you know how to make it happen. Like, I understand that you get it. We had the same talk like a couple of months ago where you also knew it. But the thing is, it seems to not happen. It seems to not happen. And actually now it seems like even it's going to be scaled back to Shanghai only, and that kind of sucks.
It does.
So yeah, you have a great headset with the Artisan or what? I don't know yet.
No, I hope that all I can say is.
What about the customer support?
All I can say is that I hope that they are vastly improving the customer resources in Shanghai. And the number of people and the automation and all that are definitely being worked on and refined and improved. In my opinion, to really get that into a nice state, you have to involve people from some of these countries where people are buying from. You know?
So are you going to make it happen? I mean, you cannot make it happen, it seems, right? It's not you're not calling the shot. But
I can make the team and people that I work with can make very strong recommendations on what we think would be the best avenue for those things. But we're not all on the same page when it comes to that.
Okay, but I mean, in my opinion, probably the consumers are going to, in the end, make the decision by not buying a Pimax product if the customer support is not where it should be.
I think that the
unfortunate for Pimax, right?
I do think that the support will continue will improve, but I think that it's that there's a threshold to how much it can improve without going to local support.
Right,
I think it'll get faster. I think it'll get better. I think maybe it'll get to a point where your average person feels really good about it, and maybe you as well, or at least feel neutral about it. But that said, I think to really ramp up the support and get people where they're really excited about Pimax, you kind of need to have some teams and support in other places.
Well, I think we totally agree with that, and it's good that you know that. But it would be great if you had the authority to make it happen. Right.
I wish
Yeah.
I had that kind of authority for that particular
I think
aspect
everyone who's watching this interview wishes you had the
of
authority to
business.
make that happen.
We had a pretty nice thing, and we still do. Our U.S. office is just for an FYI, it is open. We're sitting in here right now, and we have we have the capability to really contribute from here. But I'd say 99.99% of all of the responses and support come out of Shanghai
Okay, yeah.
for the moment.
So, yeah, I really hope that I could speak with somebody from the main office from Shanghai and talk with them about this. Because, well, I know that you guys have no really say in this, right? It's the management. I mean, you are the COO, but you're not the CEO. So, yeah, I would love
That
to
would be
speak.
Robin.
Yeah, would love to
And
speak with
you
him.
can certainly, I would encourage you to ask Robin if he
Yep.
would like to go down a path like that.
Is he going to be in CS or?
He will.
Okay, great. Then I
He
have
will.
I have the chance to speak with him about customer
And
support.
and you'll find. I mean, as you know, he's a brilliant guy. So
Yeah, yeah,
he'll
sure.
talk to you and he'll give you some. I am sure he'll give you some better insights than I can
Okay,
on his reasoning behind the the support coming completely from Shanghai.
okay, good. I think that's the best we can say right now, since I can understand that you really want to make this local support happen, but it seems like it's not happening at the moment. And well,
There is a little
this is
bit,
my opinion, right? This is my
but
opinion. It could be Pimax could be so amazing if you had amazing support, and if your communication would be better. People,
yeah, and we have a lot of people that could really contribute to that.
right, right,
In many countries, not just the U.S., but in Germany and in France and Spain and all over. There's no shortage of people who are experts on Pimax who want to help.
right,
Uh, I just think that over time we should find ways to involve them. Uh,
right.
and I think that most people would agree with that, but but it's creating a mechanism for that to happen. Is is what has to happen next.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Hopefully, you will be able to set in motion some kind of process to make that happen. I know you want to,
I do.
and I'm looking forward to speak with probably Robin. Robin, if you're watching this, I would love to interview you as well, and we can even do it in Chinese.
You can, yeah, you can catch that. You'll be able to. I mean, Robin will be in the booth.
Perfect.
He'll be
Yeah.
there during the days. A Conger will be there, of course. Chen will be there. Handy will be there. So a lot of the team from Shanghai will be there.
Hmm.
And then we have the U.S. sales force will be there. Those team members will be there. So will Martin and I, of course. And
Right.
we have some. We're going to be doing some live streams from there.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
and a lot of there will be a ton of news about Pimax and about what we're doing and about when things are going to happen, and a lot of other things will happen there.
All
So
right.
I think there will be no shortage of cool things to talk about.
Good. Looking forward to this, and of course, looking forward to try out the new Pimax 8KX with and also the Modular Audio Strap. Right, the Modular Audio Strap will be there. Finally, I can check it out. Hopefully, it's going to work.
Pretty much everything we've been talking about, except for the wireless module, will be present.
Okay, perfect. Great. So, yeah, I thank you so much for taking your time to talk about all the issues, even though the things that are not so happy to talk about, but you were here to talk about it. And I
Yeah,
thank you for that. Yeah, cool.
I'm happy to do my best to talk about these things, and we just have to move forward, and we just have to do our best to continue to improve,
Sure.
and and also reduce the things that that cause requests to come in.
Of course.
That's part of it too. That when you have less requests, you have more resources to bring to bear.
Sure.
And and
Sure.
I So I think we'll have a lot more to say on these things at CES. So
Yep.
hopefully
Looking
you
forward.
can do a stream with Robin
Yeah,
and I, or
I
just
will. I will
at.
totally ask him if he's up for it. I would love to do that.
I think he will be. I
Okay,
don't
cool.
see any reason why he wouldn't.
Perfect. So he can tell us a bit more about all these kind of things.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely encourage him to. We have meetings with him every day,
Yeah,
so we'll
okay.
definitely encourage him to talk to you.
Perfect.
And I have no doubt that he can give you a lot more detailed information than
Nice.
I can.
Looking forward to do that. Yeah,
Yep.
thanks so much, Kevin. And I'm absolutely looking forward to meet you in Las Vegas very, very soon.
It'll be fun to see you again.
All right, man. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye bye.
Bye.
That was the full interview with Pimax COO Kevin Henderson. I hope that was interesting for you. And well, I'm going to head to Las Vegas tomorrow to bring you much more from Pimax, but of course also from all the other companies that are going to show off VR and AR at CES 2020. So if you have not yet subscribed to MRTV yet, I would say do that now and also click on the bell button so that you don't miss anything. And I'm looking forward to see you from Las Vegas. Bye-bye.